He is an American film critic, film historian. He has written many, many books on cinema. It is a great thrill to have this man on. His new book is called Starstruck, My Unlikely Road to Hollywood. Our city tonight welcomes Leonard Maltin. Leonard, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure to be here.
Good to have you, sir. I was telling you before we came on camera, your book was such a great read. You take us back to your earlier days when you were a kid. I got to say, I was amazed at what you were doing. I know it was an earlier time, but regardless of that, what you were doing, you're publishing magazines, you're interviewing great character actors from the golden era, and you're like 16. Talk to us a bit about how this all came together. You clearly had a love at a very young age.
Yes, I did, but nobody knows where it came from. And including me in large part. And it wasn't my parents. My parents were very encouraging. I wouldn't have done what I did without their backing and support, but it was something inside me. And other people thought I was remarkable. Oh, this kid is publishing his own magazine and going off on interview jaunts to Hollywood. It just seemed like the thing to do. To me, the obvious thing to do.
And Leonard, it's amazing too, because I'm old school myself. You also talk a lot about great actors you talk to from another era where they weren't gatekeeped, for lack of a better words, by thousands of PR people. Like you're writing letters, this is for email and everything, where you're actually getting some responses from some pretty spectacular people out there. That must have been really heartwarming as a youngster who was in love with film and wanted to make that his life.
It meant the world to me. I wrote to Dick Van Dyke on a piece of sort of a half sheet piece of stationery that I bought from a mail order company for like $5.95. And he wrote back in the most beautiful penmanship on the bottom of my letter. I typed my single-spaced letter and left him enough room for him to write a response. And that's one of the pieces that I cherish because it shows how I was putting myself out there. Like even though I'm only 12 years old, I love Laurel and Hardy as you do, that kind of thing. And he was kind enough to write back. I've now decided, having had enough experience to judge this, that anyone who would take the time to write back to a 12-year-old kid has got to be okay. He's got to be a pretty good person.
Yeah, agreed. And one of the other things that I learned from you, and it was great to see it in the book too, something that you just have to do if you're in what we do, is that the interviewees really pick up, and I hope you are here, the enthusiasm you have for what they do. You can certainly fake it, but as I said, I've been a fan of yours for decades. You're part of why I became a film and TV critic. So hearing you say that, because you have talked to some spectacular people, Katharine Hepburn, Jimmy Stewart, but you went in there knowing a lot, and I'm sure it was another one of those things where you didn't need notes to talk to these two people.
Well, for the most part, no, because I've been following them my whole life. And I was once at a press junket for Oliver Stone's movie Nixon, waiting to talk to Anthony Hopkins. And the woman who preceded me, who was a co-hostess of a very popular entertainment program at the time, got nailed. He could tell she hadn't seen the movie.
Leonard, of course, you mentioned E.T. That was one of your homes for over almost 30 years. You say to somebody today that maybe wasn't around then or not old enough, but I do remember what a landmark, pioneering show that was back in the early 80s. Now every station has it, but you were there at the very beginning, and I do remember that just people going, no one's going to want to watch entertainment half hour every night. You were there at the beginning.
How do you fill a half hour every night
yeah.
with just entertainment news? And the show took time to get its footing, and I came in toward the end of the first season when they'd already been through 3 producers. And the man who hired me was a veteran newspaper man named Jim Bellows, something of a legend in the newspaper world. And I think I appealed to him because I had a journalism background as he did. And it was such a heady feeling knowing that I was talking to a huge audience. At any given night, we had between 8 and 11 million viewers. and there was nothing else on the air remotely like it. There was no E network. The shows Access Hollywood and Extra were to come later, and were launched by former producers of ET. So they were kind of clones of our show. And at that time, it was before it was all Kardashian all the time. So I got to do wonderful, wonderful things. I got to book my own stories and edit my own stories. It was just a wonderful experience.
Leonard, I have to ask you, because every year for a lot of years growing up, I was getting your movie guide books. Do you have a favorite film?
Oh yeah, if you ask me my number one favorite, that's easy. Ask me to do 5 or 10, I get stymied because there are just too many. I can't cram them all into one short list. But my all-time favorite film is and has been for decades, Casablanca.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to cite that.
My favorite Hollywood movie.
It's for a movie that was chaotic all through its making. It is a near perfect film.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it is taught. The screenplay is taught. I know in many classes as the perfect screenplay.
Yeah.
But that too is a matter of serendipity. You know, they kept adding other writers to, beef up or shore up this particular scene or that sequence, and it was a movie that came about not by following a diagram, but because of a great producer, Hal Wallace, bringing talented people from all corners to make it the best it could be.
I'm glad you have a favorite movie, sir. I struggle. I have a couple of top 2 or 3, but I'm so glad you could definitively pick one that I would put in my top 2. Leonard Maltin, the new book. Look at it right there, folks. Starstruck, My Unlikely Road to Hollywood. It is a great read. A guy who knew what he wanted to do, barely out of diapers. It's Leonard Maltin. Thank you for joining us, sir. This has been a great thrill for me. As I said, part of why I do what I do is because of what you have done for a lot of years. So it's been a great thrill having you on our show.
That means a lot to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It's Leonard Maltin. Look for his book. It is available now.